why don't we start and let's make this quick so everyone can be done and we can all be done and everyone can do their things before 5. So first of all, thank you all so much for participating in WMGIC Online. And the past few weeks has been quite a few weeks for our whole team, especially since last Wednesday when William Mary announced that it's going to close and for us to move things online. And so it is really remarkable that we have now 80 participants online is in this Zoom at 4 p.m. on a Saturday. So for all of you guys, thank you again to our mentors, our judges, and to our participants, but also to our team. So yeah, so let me start. So as you guys now know, WMGIC is the Global Innovation Challenge, and we really appreciate that all of you guys are here. This idea started 4 years ago, and it has traveled so far, and hopefully that in the year's future, all of us can help grow WMGIC together. And so again, thank you to our exec team, to all of us, to Nathan's team with Nathan, Grace, and Kieran, to Mike, our recruitment director, to Macy, to Kiefer, to Ben, who's not in the picture, for writing the case, to Hannah, our development director, to Emily, our business director, who's been doing our amazing social media, and to Yuchia, who's been communicating with our mentors and judges as our external relations. And so also thank you to our mentors and judges. And so this year we had an unprecedented amount of 20 mentors and judges, and half of them alums, half of them aren't, but all of them volunteered their time this weekend to be with us, mentoring and also judging students. So thank you all. And also to the participants, this is a screenshot that Dr. Tierney took yesterday, and I got it from his LinkedIn. So thank you guys for sticking with us. And it's crazy that how registration even grew when we moved the format online without the free food and everything. And then there's more people. So at the end of we had a few teams drop, we still had 19 teams. And so that is a record for the 4 years of WMGIC. So that's something that is really quite remarkable. And quickly, thank you to our sponsors, the Global Research Institute, William Mary Sustainability with the Green Fee, Student Assembly, Cohen Career Center, who was working with us on a career expo, which I promise will happen next year, the Entrepreneurship Center, and then to our other sponsors, DH Infrastructure with Denzel and Dylan, the UCrop Studio for Innovation and Design at William & Mary, and then also to AMP. And so I'll go really quickly through the flow of closings. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go stream by stream. So first of all, we'll have the governance stream. We'll a judge will be announcing the runner-up and the winner, and then the winners will pitch, and then for 3 minutes. And then that goes on for social entrepreneurship and technology with the announcements of runner-up, winners, and winner getting pitched. And so after all 3 of the winners pitch, the judges have instructions to leave the final, the closing ceremonies, this call to the deliberate and discuss. And then while they are deliberating and discussing, we will have the runner-ups for each of the 3 streams pitch. And then afterwards, we'll do a quick announcement about having you guys join our team next year for the WMGIC exec. And then we'll announce the final 3 teams who get the cash prizes, the 1,000 grand prize, 700 second prize, and then third prize of $300. And then we'll close with some really brief remarks. And so without further ado, let's get Eric from the governance team. Eric is the judge, and do you want to announce the runner-ups first, and then
Sure.
the winner?
Great. I'll announce some runner-ups first. So the runner-ups were the Couch Dwellers. We thought they really did a great job focusing on a local governance issue. We liked their logic model and some of the more kind of more of the comprehensiveness of their solution, and they also had sustainability embedded in what they were doing. So kudos to them. The winners have a name that's too long, so I'm only going to say the first 3 words. The winners were Got Sent Home. We thought, there you go, there's the full name. They actually did something with leafy green vegetables, so I'm going to eat some of those as I mention this. They had a behavior change component as well as a microfinance component. Really good use of local resources and a good focus on the Indigenous communities. So congratulations to all the participants and especially those two.
And so now, without further ado, we will have the Thoughts Sent Home pitch. And so this is only the screenshot. And so you guys won't have the deck, and then I'll time the 3 minutes, and you guys should be able to hear it when time's up. So whenever you guys are ready, when someone starts, I'll start the time.
Yeah. Hey, so sorry, just to clarify, did you say we should pull up our deck, or we should just talk with this as the background?
Just talk with this as a background, and this goes for everyone. Sorry for not being.
Okay, great. Yeah, no problem. So basically, in short, our program was to develop a no-interest microloan scheme that encourages partnerships between Indigenous female community entrepreneurs and local midwives to increase micronutrients in children's diets. So we do so by creating community gardens that grow Indigenous leafy greens that are high in these micronutrients. And these community gardens engage with community in both a financially empowering and a socially unifying manner.
Right. So while the Guatemalan government and countless NGOs have identified malnutrition as a key contributor to the cycle of poverty in the country, a good solution has yet to be found. Current government policies in developing countries like Guatemala don't emphasize micronutrient outcomes. They instead promote staples which provide energy and protein but are lacking in micronutrients. But our plan utilizes the leafy greens which grow in abundance in the highlands of Guatemala where a large part of the indigenous population lives. These plants are high in iron and protein, two deadly deficiencies for mothers and children in these areas. So our plan emphasizes education to both make sure that families in these indigenous areas of Guatemala are aware that their children are in need of micronutrients to be healthier and stop the cycle of poverty, as well as educate them on interesting, creative ways of integrating the plants into their diets so that families and children want to integrate these foods.
So we have a three-pronged plan for how we would unroll this. So the first step is an educational and training component that'll take place in a sort of conference symposium format. So we'll recruit 4 female leaders from each municipality in this one test region that we identified, and we won't go into that for this elevator pitch. But we'll recruit these 4 female leaders from each municipality to make sure we account for all languages and regional disparities to maximize the reach of the program. And we specifically focus on Indigenous women to heighten transparency and trust within the community and increase buy-in. And the Guatemala Ministry of Health and Social Assistance will host this training program on the benefits of leafy greens and on ways to incorporate these plants in day-to-day life. And sessions will range from meetings with nutritionists to cooking demonstrations to a business boot camp to teach these women how to run the most effective community gardens. And the main goal is to make the adoption of this food intuitive, fun, and attractive, to really encourage these women to be engaged and excited about these greens as they bring them back to their community, which leads us to the microloans for community gardens.
Right. So a really important component of this plan are the no-interest microloans that the ministry will give to 4 women from each of the 17 municipalities in the region of Alta Verapaz in Guatemala. And this is a financial empowerment tool because it allows women to start these gardens in their communities, create collectives, sell the greens, and do cooking demonstrations in their communities, and then hopefully continue the program by being able to pay back these loans and continue for posterity.
Can we give like a 10-second finishing? Okay, so just to quickly wrap that up, another key component is that a stipulation of the microloan is that local midwives get a 10% share of profits. And that ties into some cultural facts that we've noticed regarding the unique role of trust for midwives in society and their unique relationship in terms of face-to-face times with mothers. And the third component of our project is the creation of a centralized database that emphasizes a shared network of the information that's collected and also improves some coding skills in the local populations.
Thanks, Mary and Malin. And so now we will move on to the next stream, which is social entrepreneurship. And I think Allison, who is a judge from the social entrepreneurship, will be announcing the runner-ups and then also the winners. So Allison.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison. It was just a joy to see everyone present this afternoon. So the runner-up for the social entrepreneurship stream is the Jefferson Consulting Group. We just really appreciated how sophisticated and well-researched and quite a community-focused program they'd come up with to empower rural subsistence farmers. So nice job to them. The winners for the social entrepreneurship stream are Novigato. And we were incredibly impressed with the creative and innovative connection that they created between an available supply and a local need, considering both labor safety and social inequality. So nice job, everyone.
So Kareem, Sam, Meghna, Abe.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, everyone. So our team strategized this business venture as a means to address not only economic hardships, but also social environmental ones as well. We were really struck by the size of the coffee industry itself in Guatemala, and we tried to tailor our solution to this particular market. Guatemala is one of the largest producers of coffee in the world, and coffee production composes about 40% of their agricultural economy.
Yeah, so within this production, we found a lot of issues relating to labor safety, income inequality, and environmental strain. And the coffee production process produces a lot of waste at all levels. So we honed in on the waste produced just by the coffee roasters in Guatemala, most notably the coffee chaff that most of them simply just discard.
Coffee chaff is the outside husk of the coffee bean and can be used to produce many kinds of plastic products, including face masks, gloves, aprons, and protective eyewear, all of which we see as beneficial to Guatemalan factory workers, who often work in dangerous conditions with no protection, as they are priced out of most of these markets. Our unique solution localizes the entire production process and draws on primarily female laborers and implements equal pay, as they earn roughly half of that of their male counterparts for the same jobs.
The way this works is taking the coffee chaff, using specialized machinery to create a plastic material that can be molded into safety equipment. The process also utilizes recycled plastics that we plan to obtain from polluted landscapes and bodies of water found in Guatemala. As far as implementation goes, we divided our 12-month timeline into two sections: factory processes and community relations. We chose these months based on the coffee harvest period, November to April, when most of the chaff is produced. Simultaneously, we'll begin assembling machinery while starting communication with local communities. After months of relationship building, we will finalize our company board, which will have many local coffee workers. After initial testing, chaff collection, and factory construction, we will begin production and negotiate deals with local factories to buy our products. Throughout this time, we will invest in employee training, community training, and cross-cultural exchange to make our company stable long-term and friendly for local families.
Ultimately, our solution is the best because it's a self-sustaining process. And we take immense pride in the fact that our process is entirely localized. We provide real economic opportunities for not only women, factory workers, and factory owners, but also every citizen in Guatemala, as well as the local ecosystem, as our production process inherently cleans up and recycles the plastic waste you commonly see in the Guatemalan streets and bodies of water.
So at the end of the day, our mission's pretty simple. We really want to cultivate opportunities for those disenfranchised communities in Guatemala. Our business provides the necessary sustainable safety gear while bringing the businesses back to the coffee laborers themselves. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. And next we'll go to the technology stream, and I think Jaya, a judge from technology stream, will be announcing the runner-up and then the winner. Jaya?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I was very impressed with all the presentations we saw today, and of course we had to select the top two. So our runner-up was Team VNE, which was focused on using women's entrepreneurship for microfinance solution. We really liked their use of SMS, capable devices for addressing that. They specifically focused on women, and we also really liked the fact that they actually did a pilot to determine future scalability and feasibility of this project moving forward. And of course, our winner was the Team AAA, which was using GIS to address the gaps filled related to land disputes in Guatemala. That we thought was a very innovative approach of using technology as a solution. You see people coming up with different ideas, but using GIS, we thought they gave a really strong proposal. Use of GIS is not something very common that we have seen. and they also made a really good use of the funds that were provided to them for the course of time.
All right. August, Austin, Antonia, you have the floor.
Hi, thank you, Thomas. So our concept was to create a online geospatial database that would be accessible to the people in Guatemala to help mitigate land disputes. Land disputes are a huge issue in Guatemala and negatively affect the agriculture industry. And if they were addressed, it would promote economic prosperity, peace building, and help bridge the wealth gap in Guatemala. In addition to creating this database, we also wanted to create a local council that would help mitigate land disputes, so that it would not be a top-down command and control legislation, but go into communities and partner with local NGOs and use those existing relationships to help talk through relationships and trying to use individually based relationships to come to an amicable solution. In addition to compiling data both from digitized paper records in Guatemala, as well as the results of survey data that we would attain in Guatemala, we'd also run a convolutional neural network analysis of satellite data that we would get from our partner Global Forest Watch to establish correlation between high conflict areas and geographic characteristics, so that moving forward we could predict where the highest instances of land disputes would occur. So this database would ultimately provide an ethically created, open source, very applicable, uncorrupt database of past, present, and future land conflicts in Guatemala to hopefully prevent and address this issue as quickly as possible. Gus or Antonio, you guys want to take it anywhere else?
Yeah, I would just say that as well, in order to make sure that our effect is lasting and longevity and sustainability, keeping that in mind, that we made sure to use a seed fund to ensure that the database is remains up to date and gets updates, and we can conduct a survey on the back end to see if any of our efforts had any effect on land distribution conflict.
Yeah, just so closing up, the things that we want to stress are our ability to sort of promote the already existing community ties that exist with local NGOs and their in the specific region of Guatemala that we chose, which was Quiche. So by working with those already existing NGOs to help run our survey and work on the predominance of our face-to-face communication with Guatemalans, it sort of promotes and cultivates that community aspect of peace building for land dispute resolution, which will help us in the long term if at the end of the year we decide to move on and we can leave our database in the hands of a local NGO.
Thank you. And so now the judges will leave to the room that Nathan's in, and then you guys will be deciding the top 3 winners. And we will continue on with closing ceremonies. And so before we get the top teams, the runner-up teams for each of the 3 streams to present their solutions, their quick pitches, I just want to make a few quick announcements. So all of you guys will be getting feedback from both your mentors and judges. So if you guys have 4 mentors, you're going to get 4 specific feedback from mentors, and then also the feedback from your judges. And so this is something that we're doing for the first time this year in order to make sure that the hard work you guys spend, there's feedback for you guys to bring on outside of WMGIC. And so why don't we move on to the runner-ups of governance? Do you guys want to do your 3-minute pitches now? Grace, Jessica, and Jenna?
Yeah, so we chose to focus, our project title is Empowering Rural Communities Through Enforcing Land Rights. And I'm Jenna, and we're the couch dwellers. So the reason we chose to target land rights in particular is because they underscore a lot of Guatemala's deep-seated sustainability and also, very importantly, equity problems. And basically, we argue that empowering local rural populations is the most profitable and sustainable investment in the long term. We decided to limit our scope to establishing a rural production organization in Solala, which is a small western province in Guatemala. So going a little bit more into our plan, an RPO, Rural Production Organization, is a community-led cooperative that will function as a political advocacy group as well as an investment entity as we have created it. In terms of political advocacy, we provide legal aid to ensure Guatemala's land rights. In terms of investment, we draw money from both our 1 million and also remittance investment money to support supply side competitiveness in the agricultural industry.
So a bit about our financial structure. 10% of our budget goes to survey and performance metrics, 30% goes to legal aid services, and 60% goes to RPO institutional startups like building rentals, setting up staff and legal services, and the initial infrastructure projects. RPOs will be funded by remittances from Guatemalans abroad. By focusing on remittances as a sustainable funding avenue, we will ensure the long-term financial backing to our program. RPOs are also funded by revenue from newly accessed markets and jobs creation. To measure the success of our land ownership efforts, we'll use data on indigenous versus corporate land ownership, how land is being used, and the success of our legal efforts. We'll also measure RPO success through an analysis of their budget, mainly their expenditures on public projects, as well as a survey of public opinions and resource access.
So why is our model innovative? So our model has great potential for scale since we start with a small, sustainable model that will spread to create national level change and compliance. Our model generates a lot of community level focus. Investment in RPOs is a popular method, but it is often top down. Our RPO strives to serve the community and make their voices heard. And lastly, by using remittances as investment capital, our model is smart and sustainable. Remittances are a steady flow of income, so we use it as a form of investment money to create a sustainable model that can be replicated throughout Guatemala. The investment potential to make money means that instead of sending 100% of remittances to family, Guatemalans abroad will be incentivized to invest in our program.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. So now we'll move on to the social entrepreneurship runner-up. So that's the Jefferson Consulting Group. And 1 second. Here it is. Do you guys want to take it away?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Tom. So we were the Jefferson Consulting Group from the University of Virginia, and we want to really quickly give a synopsis of what we recommended. So at its core, we saw the problem as one about economic potential, really how to empower those in Guatemala to make a better future for themselves. Specifically, we thought these economic problems were kind of the root cause of the ripple effects in terms of health, in terms of community. So diving down a little bit deeper, what we really saw was that the population was growing substantially, but people weren't planting food crops. Instead, their decisions were made on their behalf by other people who were telling them to plant cash crops, such as coffee beans, for instance, sugar, and so on. So what we really wanted to do was to empower these farmers to make their own decisions about what to plant and how to better their communities instead of bettering exports. We saw that they had access to land, labor, and favorable growing conditions, but they were really missing this empowerment, both in terms of human capital and financial capital. So our core recommendation was kind of in 3 parts as well. First, giving these people the financial capital to make the investments they need, but learning from microfinancing mistakes in other countries, also giving them education and making sure it's accessible. So not just giving these people money and pretending to understand what's happening in these countries, but actually understanding what Guatemala is like and giving an offering that suits their needs.
So jumping into the training program a little bit more, we plan to have these regularly held training programs for the specific clients that we're working with. Some of the things that we want to touch upon are 1, climate change and agricultural technology. Specifically about climate change, though, From our research, we found commercial farming, especially in industries like coffee, have contributed to the rapid climate change that Guatemala is facing. So we want to be able to educate our farmers to kind of go against that and kind of start growing their own crops that are better for the climate. Also into community buy-in, we wanted to make sure that these training programs had substantial community buy-in. So we looked into regional branches, making sure we had community partners, used the local language, and had periodic farm visits as well. Our community partners, we found 3 community partners that are already developed in Guatemala that work with the farmers that we also wanted to kind of put on as our clients as well. These are kind of 3 major community partners that believe that, kind of staple crop growing is the future for Guatemala and kind of how it's going to combat malnutrition that's being kind of forced upon the country by commercial farming.
And then we analyzed several different maps to find out which regions were actually affected so we can more effectively transition. And so we found that places where the poverty gap is the highest also planted cash crops. These are exported food produce like coffee and papayas, pineapples, like that.
In order to prove the viability of our sorry, can I keep on?
Yeah, you guys got.
Okay. We did a case study with BTPN, an Indonesia company that can guide our strategies. But we do recognize that Indonesia case is different than Guatemala case. So we developed independent KPIs that are both community-centric and financial-centric to measure our performance. If our strategy is to be carried out successfully, we will be able to increase the income for farmers in Guatemala, reduce malnutrition, and enable social class mobility in the long run.
Thank you, guys. And so for the runner-ups for the technology stream, Andrew, Victoria, Erica. Do you guys want to start?
Erica, you're muted.
Hello, I'm Erica, and these are my teammates, Andrew and Victoria. We are addressing economic development by connecting women to microfinance through technology. So we started by looking at microfinance. Microfinance for women improves community health effects and tends to reduce violence against women. Increased information about microloan programs. One of the major challenges facing microfinancing is a lack of information that causes workers to choose wage jobs over entrepreneurship.
So the solution for this is to close the information gap for women. Our plan was to send available loan and interest rate information from microfinancing institutions, as well as texts that teach financial skills to women through SMS-capable devices. These messages would be sent through a mass texting system, which is our program proposal. Our goal would be to find the impact of improving access to microfinance information for women on short-term and long-term indicators.
So this is a test pilot using randomized controlled trials. We're blocking by villages, so there's no spillover effects between communities. So half of the villages will be treated by getting the texts about the loan opportunities and the financial tips. The other half of the villages will get texts about ecological farming practices. Then we will survey 5,000 households in the Quiche department to collect a variety of indicators such as child BMI, current loan status, other economic indicators, so that once this trial runs and they all get their text messages, we can then collect more data at the end to see how it has affected them. And if this program is successful, if we see results in the 9-month period we would then scale up the project over a larger and longer term.
There will be 2 types of women, those with access to phones and those without. Of those women with phones, half of them would be randomly assigned treatment. This would be the microfinance information, and the control group would receive an environmental message. For the women without phones, half of them would be randomly given a phone, and of the women randomly given a phone, half will receive microfinance information treatment, and the other control will receive an environmental message. These sort of different groups will allow us to separate the effects of receiving information about microfinance from the effect of having access to a phone.
We believe that increasing access to information about financial skills and microfinance conditions helps improve community well-being, tackle income disparities, and bridge gender inequality. Our proposal to create a mass texting system for women would accomplish just that.
Thank you. And so now is for my little blurb announcement when the judges try to come back in. And so, as you guys all know now, so we have been working behind the scenes as a WMGIC executive team to make this happen. And so for next year, like every year, we'll be looking for people who are interested in joining us. And so what we get to do is some perks and some fun things is that we get to interact quite closely with the judges and mentors. And we also get a chance for to host this conference this year online, but hopefully next year back in Williamsburg. And it has been a growing conference, and there isn't really a international development case competition or anything like this, as of our knowledge, in the collegiate space. So this is something unique. And so we also want to thank UVA for coming this year. So hopefully in the year's future, we can get more universities to come. And so this won't only be a place for William and Mary students, but also for students from different universities too. And so we will be sending out a survey form afterwards to all of you guys, participants. And if you would fill that survey form out, because at the bottom, we need your information to send your $20 gift card that we decided to give you this year. So the reason why we are giving you those $20 gift card this year is because originally we're going to feed you with Sal's, with all good food that we have in Williamsburg, but then we decided that in order to make sure that the judges and mentors that spend so much of their time to do this for us still have participants, we thought that maybe we could give that money back to you. And so hopefully if you are interested in joining WMGIC next year, please sign up. And other than that, we're also doing few really cool projects. So originally in April 8th, which was going to be happening in 2 weeks, Nathan and his innovation team has been working with Dr. Kay Floyd from the Whole of Government Institute, and we were going to run a case competition on national security. So something similar to WMGIC, but in a shorter time frame. So in an afternoon time frame with only 4 hours, and then you will get to do some quick mentoring, 2 hours, and then directly go to judging. So that is something that we are also branching out for. So it's quite an exciting time if you're interested in joining the Global Innovation Challenge. We are doing really cool projects, and we work with quite cool people, and we're just quite an interesting team to work with. So there will be in the survey, we will indicate if you're interested to join WMGIC next year, and if you are, just please fill out the survey form. And I am wondering where the judges and mentors are for them to come back and do the announcements, because I don't want to do that without them. So give me 1 second. Thank you, guys. At this time, actually, since we're waiting for them, and since we are way ahead of schedule, which is great news, do you guys have some quick feedbacks, comments that you want to share as a group, if you're comfortable for us? If you want to just unmute and then try to speak, and let's hope not 5 people speak at the same time. If you guys have comments or questions about WMGIC and stuff, anything.
I have a quick comment. I thought the mentoring sessions, maybe in the future we could have like fewer of them the night before, just because like as soon as we got our case, we had like back to back sessions. And it would be nice to have like a little bit of a break between like each of the different sessions, just so we had like more time to sort of formulate our thesis or whatever it was. But I think that would be helpful.
Okay. So in the past years, we only had 1 mentor per team. Last year we had 2. And then this year, since we had so many mentors, we thought, why don't we give it a try for all the mentors to mentor both Friday and Saturday? But yeah, that's something that we can consider in the future. Continue.
Also, to jump off that, I had heard in one of these other sort of debrief sessions that last year the teams had an hour with their case before they started meeting with the mentors. Not sure if that was something new, but would be curious to know if the teams felt like they had enough time with the background and the case before they jumped in with the mentors.
So Nicole, I think the schedule was similar to last year. So last year they had an hour. This year they also had an hour before you guys jumped in, because that was when we were doing the intros.
Oh, bad. For some reason, I thought it was 30 minutes.
I think it was an hour, if I remember correctly. Yeah, but maybe we always want to make it a little longer, but we don't want to take y'all's time too late to the evening. So it's kind of a hard balancing act that we should try to figure out in the future. Any other comments?
I just wanted to say, like, thank you for turning this virtual so fast and so efficiently. Like, your emails were so easy to understand. And in a time where so many like events around the school were getting canceled, like you were able to make it virtual really fast. And I thought that was really impressive.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, our team has been on calls and calls and calls this past week. So past week and a half. So it's been quite an interesting time. Yeah, we're just like drafting emails, rewriting emails, changing them up. So yeah, thank you. Anyone else? I hope they're coming back. They say they are, but I don't know where they are. So, I mean, we still have time. So, any other quick comments? They are heading back. So maybe 2 more quick comments before we announce. There's 78 of you guys.
It was really interesting having a broad problem to tackle and to try and figure out how to deal with the issues in Guatemala, but it might have been nice to have a more specific problem to solve.
The problem too broad?
Yes, because for the first 20 minutes, at least on my team, it was spent discussing about what we should be looking at and what approaches would be allowed to use.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's also feedback we got from judges and mentors. In the years past, it was quite narrow. So either in like Darfur, which is in Sudan, or then Kiribati, which is the island nation. But this year, it was kind of whole of Guatemala. We kind of tried that new approach. So it seems like everyone liked to have a better idea of maybe focusing on something narrower. And was it not clear for us saying if you were the Guatemalan government or if you were someone else coming into Guatemala, was that distinction clear to you guys of like kind of who you guys were? Any thoughts?
Oh, I'm still not exactly sure who we were in the case, so if that answers your question.
So our hope was that you guys could decide who you were, but okay. So would it be helpful in the future for us telling you like who you were? Yes, no?
I think at the very least, making the fact that we have that option clear, like putting at the beginning, choose a position from which you're making a case, like choose whether you want to be NGO or government or student researchers. I think my team kind of operated under the idea that like the 3 of us as students were the ones that would be implementing the project.
Okay. So either us giving you guys a clear instruction saying, yes, you can choose yourselves, or deciding it for y'all beforehand. How about the judging criteria? Was it, you guys have any issues with that? Judging criteria or just judging in general?
I'll hop in. I thought the rubric was really, really helpful. Like that pretty much framed how we thought about like organizing our presentation, as well as like, you know, when we were thinking about how we're going to talk through it, it was pretty much solely based on like, you know, that like the ethics, like sustainability. I don't remember what the other ones were, but like that was really, really helpful.
Okay, that's good to know. How about the schedule? And I have a general question for you guys. Would this be better if it's done in the fall or done in the spring back at William & Mary? Because in the past years, we've all done it in the spring. It's kind of open-ended question. In terms of y'all's schedules.
Like spring.
Spring.
Yeah, I feel like the fall is very loaded for us in general. Like there's so many events that go on in the fall, so I feel like spring would be better.
Okay, so this time frame right after spring break is a generally decent time? Because we've been trying to host it during this time period, but there's quite a few major events going on in Wilmer, like the women's stock pitch. And so just for us, it's always interesting to feel out when we should do it.
I feel like for spring will work well to encourage freshmen to participate, because if you do it in the fall, it's much more difficult for new students to jump on.
We have a lot of freshmen this year. It's quite impressive. So like the first batch who signed up before spring break, like 60% of them were freshmen. And so that's great. So thank you guys all for doing this. And that means you guys can do this again and again in the future and win cash prizes. So yeah, I think, Nathan, are most of the mentors and judges back?
Are the three people who are speaking, can you say something so that we can see?
Okay, I see it now. Jaya, Dr. Molpin, Sarah?
Yes, if the three of you could say something so we could see if you're here.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
Jaya?
Here.
Okay, so let's do this. And so now we go to the top three winners. And then, so the third place winner, go for it.
Right. The third place winner is Team AAA. While we really like...
Let me try to read this. Okay. Yes, sorry.
No problem. So the third place winner is Team AAA. We really liked your idea, the solution for using GIS for addressing land dispute. So it was a really tough decision to come up with amongst the three different proposals that were submitted. So congratulations for being number 3.
All right, and then next up, second place, Dr. Molpin.
Yeah, so as the runners up, we're happy to announce Novigato. All of us were really impressed with the innovation in your proposal of taking chaff from coffee plants that is normally used as just trash and then repurposing that. We were also all really impressed with your proposal touching on different aspects from the environment, employment, and then also public health. So very nice job.
And then we have Sarah.
So congratulations to the grand prize winner. Got sent home from abroad, but at least we can do this. We were really impressed by the behavioral change approach that was taken to the challenge of malnutrition, which was something a lot of groups tried to focus on. But this really looked at the question of why aren't people using certain crops that are indigenous crops to the area that can be more widely adopted to increase nutrition, especially for small children. And the fact that this also then focused on women and women's empowerment, greater income for women, and women as change agents, and particularly indigenous midwives who sometimes face kind of challenges in recognition and appreciation from the government. So overall, we were just really impressed by this strategy and something that we felt could really be done kind of in the time limits with the amount of resources provided. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So congrats to all the winners. And so as I said, before we all end 15 minutes early, so this feedback survey form is on the schedule. We'll be sending it out to all of you via email, but you need to fill this out in order to get your gift cards. And so if you're the top 3 winners, we will contact you via Slack to talk about the cash prizes, because we have, obviously we're not in Williamsburg, and so we'll figure a way out to make sure that y'all get the cash prizes. And so go back to the survey, fill out the survey, and in the survey, the cool thing that we have this year, also new, is that all the mentors and judges, I believe, has graciously agreed to provide their email address and then their LinkedIn, ways to contact them. So I think it will be quite appropriate for not only us, the team, but also for you guys to maybe thank them, but also to connect with them in the future if you're interested in doing so. And before I close this, Nathan or anyone from our team, is there anything to add? Nathan, sorry to put you on the spot.
Only that the judges and mentors have agreed to provide a little bit of feedback to each of the teams so that this can be a learning experience.
And so, yes, so the judges and mentors has been working really hard to fill out feedback teams for every floor. And so each of you guys should get 6 to 7 feedback per team. And so that is a lot. And so thanks for the judges and mentors for doing this. And maybe before we close, do the judges and mentors, any of you guys have something to say?
The only thing I want to say is that this was awesome. And the second thing I want to say is, I think we mentioned this in the mentors and judges corners, is we learned a lot from you as well through this. So we learned both that there are a bunch of really capable people who are passionate about international development that Williamsburg is creating, which is awesome. But second is that you're very resilient as well in putting up with all of the barriers that were thrown for you in order to make this all possible. So it's especially that resilience that I want to hang your hat on, because if anything is true in international development, resilience is a skill that can only be taught through experience. So this is a great opportunity to build that resilience. So thank you guys all so much. Thanks to Thomas, thanks to Nathan, thanks to all the people who made this possible. It was great to be a part and spend a Saturday doing this with you folks.
Thanks, Eric. Anyone else? Maybe 1 or 2 more? Judges, mentors?
Yeah, maybe if I can jump into the conversation. So for me, definitely I was impressed to see so much energy, passion across all the teams that I got the opportunity to talk. Thank you for all of those who were able to collaborate with me despite the time differences. I really enjoy meeting each one of you, and especially I know that you all have a bright future ahead of you. So I highly encourage you to really keep that energy going on, and whatever you decide to go for in your international development career. As Eric said before, I think resilience is a really key skill to have these days. But most importantly, it's a sense of vision and passion of whatever you do. So I think always believe that you can always deliver on lasting, impactful changes, and that's what is going to be the big difference for all the communities that you are aiming to serve. So thank you, Thomas, for organizing once again, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next year.
Thanks for coming from Geneva, Sergio, and thanks for everything for the past few years. Maybe one last one, and then we'll close. Judges, mentors? Anyone?
The staff and to all the participants, you guys were super creative, super innovative. It was a real honor to be a part of this experience, and also really got to enjoy all the mentors. There's just a lot of just great energy and intelligence and innovation. Shame I didn't get to meet you all in person, but hope to do so in the future. Please stay connected with us. We had a chat with all the mentors sort of were chatting about how impressive you all were. And yeah, our emails are all in that spreadsheet that Thomas provided you. Please stay in touch.
Thanks, Nicole, and hope you can come back to Williamsburg finally next year.
I haven't been back since I graduated.
Yeah, you told me that. So next year, we promise.
Next year.
So thank you. And I think with that, that's closed WMGIC. So really appreciate all of you guys for participating, sticking with us these past few weeks. These are tough times, but I think us doing this really shows a lot about how William Mary is, but also about how WMGIC is, seeing that we can innovate and then do new things. So not only the students, but us as a team, also judges and mentors, innovating with these spreadsheets. So I think everything is eating the leaf at the finals closing ceremony. So I think all of this is great, and we hope all of you guys can come back next year, both the judges, mentors, but also the participants. So thank you. See you guys all next year. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.